Welcome back 40k fans to this 8th edition battle report from Battleforged Brothers. We are playing over this abandoned imperial complex, and today it will be the forces of craftworld Ulthwe against the Necrons. Classic matchup today. So we do have a custom scenario today, which I will go over in a couple of moments. But very first, we are playing Hammer and Anvil. So the green dice represented here, going up alongside through these buildings over the ruined Aquila and back that way as well, past the ruined citadels, is the Necron deployment. And moving past here, past the Space Marine statue, you can see that this is a reinforced position. It's been reinforced previously with some makeshift barricades, a couple of craters, these white dice representing the Eldar's deployment. So, scenario. The custom scenario that we've come up with today is a one that I've seen done a few times. So what we are going to do is essentially a single objective on the board, which is going to be represented by a Necron objective. So the Necron objective, which the Necrons will be wanting to keep a hold of, is a beacon. So they're using a beacon to summon more of their tomb world. It's only a phalanx at the moment. Bit of a vanguard strike, I suppose, from them. So the vanguards are out, but they're wanting to summon the rest of the tomb world. So the objective marker, just put it on the board there, is going to be this. The reason it's not on the board at the moment is because we'll play with a few little custom scenarios. So custom rules for this. And Graham will be going over this in a second. And there's a reason for this. So the Necrons, using this to try and summon the rest of the tomb world, the Eldar, ever vigilant against their ancient nemesis, will be trying to shut this down. So at the end of the game, this is worth 4 points. If the Necrons control it, they essentially win. If the Eldar control it, well, they will win. So it is all hinging over this beacon, obelisk device, whatever it may be. Now, that will be hinging for the game. So over this, it is phased out of existence. So it is 1 second out of existence. So the Eldar don't know where it is going to be. So looking over the ruined imperial complex, we have building 1, building 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So these buildings are where this could potentially be. Now the Eldar don't know where it's going to be. Now Graham's going to roll on a d6, but he's going to take over the camera. I'm going to leave the room. So only the Necrons and your good selves will know exactly where this objective is. Now the Eldar are on a mission to hunt this down and find it and take control over it as soon as possible. So looking across, this will be where the Eldar will be coming through the barricades, smashing through into here to take on the Necrons, and no doubt the Necrons will be wanting to fight back against them as hard as possible. They want to hold this, they want to raise their tomb. So I'll hand you over to Graham in a second, and he will explain more on the beacon, where it's going to be, and then we'll do the army lists and deployment.
Right guys, Graham here. Now we can see that we've got these buildings here, and what I'm supposed to be doing is rolling to see where the objective marker is placed. So let's put it on camera, and it is building number 4. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it's right deep in my territory, so we'll just place that there. Stu's not to know where it is, so after this I will be removing this, but it looks like the Necrons have got to be defending this building with this objective in. So we will come back for the deployment, and let's see if anyone can seize the initiative.
Right, okay, so this is the 1840 points worth of Necrons. Graham couldn't fit another 10 points in anywhere, but these will be defending their beacon. They want the tomb to rise, and they will make sure that they succeed. So, Warlord for today is the Overlord with a War Scythe. No further upgrades on him. To the right of him is a squad of mortals with Test the Carbines. Just round the citadel here is a squad of mortals. we have the squad on the top of Death Marks. Just behind, we have 3 Canoptech Wraiths, all with whip coils, no further upgrades on them. Just starting on the board is the Doom Scythe. Just moving over here, the Star God himself, the Satan Shard of the Nightbringer, just floating alongside his Necron brothers. And just here is the Ghost Ark. There's 10 warriors inside of there. We have a Spider who has a Fabricator Claw and the Particle Weapon. I have had to lend Graham, because he did forget his Cryptek, I've lent a Destroyer. He's standing in as a Cryptek. And just in reserve for the Necrons, we have a Monolith, which will be a Deep Striking. It is in high orbit, waiting to smash down onto this planet to cause the Eldar some problems. So the Necrons, obviously, they know where the objective is. The Eldar don't, but we will have a look and see what the Eldar have brought to wreak vengeance on their ancient nemesis. Right, okay, so this is the forces of Ulthwe signed on to take on the Necrons. So just moving over here, we have a Wave Serpent with dual scatter, a Shuriken Cannon, no further upgrades on there. In there is a squad of 5 Fire Dragons with an Exarch with Fire Pike. We have the Wind Riders with 1 Shuriken Cannon in that squad. Exactly the same here. We have Farseer Talrien at the back, who is equipped with a Witchblade. In his powers, he's chose is Guide and Doom. We have a 10-man squad of Guardian Defenders here, just anchoring the left-hand side with the platform with the Bright Lance. Just down here, of course, we have the Warlord, which is Eldar Ullthwe. Need to get the new model painted up, but I'm still a fan of the old style. We have a squad of Dark Reapers with the Exarch armed with the Eldar Missile Launcher. And, of course, we have the Eldar Wraith Knight. So he is equipped with the 2 Star Cannons, Sun Cannon and Scatter Shields. So they will be looking to press on, heading straight forward as fast as they can to search for this beacon, to shut it down and to take as many metal warriors out as possible. So with it being this is the attacking force, at the moment the Eldar will be going first, unless of course the Necrons would like to see. So on a roll of a 6, the Necrons will be going first. On a roll of a 4, they do not. So the Eldar will be looking to find out where this beacon is, but we'll come back after movement phase, turn 1 for the Eldar. Right, just a very quick note, I did forget to mention, so my apologies. The infiltrators, which are part of my force, they've infiltrated 9 inches away from the Necron force. Graham has already confirmed that the beacon is not in this building. But in this force is 6 Scorpions with an Exarch, who has the Scorpion's Claw and Chainsword. So we'll be getting straight back after the movement phase. Right, okay, so we are just back after the Eldar movement phase. So the bikes have advanced their full distance up 22, closely followed by the Wave Serpent in support. These guys have advanced an extra inch, so they moved 7. According to their rules, they hit on 3, so that's marvellous. These have just moved up their normal 16. And the Farseer Talrien, he's moved up his 16 as well, just in psychic support over this way. Eldrad has just moved his normal 7, and the Guardians have just moved up as well, their normal 6-inch move. And the Wraith Knight, obviously anchoring the left-hand side, just coming round the corridor down here. And just moving around the table, just to give you a bit of a shot as well, Just coming round this way, the Scorpions have just moved out their standard 6. Maybe it'll get a couple of shots off, but they will have a little bit of backup by the Wraith Knight being there as well. So we will come back after Psychic and Shooting phase, with Psychic now being relatively short. Right, okay, so we are just back after the Eldar Psychic and Shooting phase. Psychic phase, nothing really to sing home about, apart from Farseer Talrien. He had his mind ripped apart by some demons. He's lost 2 wounds. Firepower coming in from over this side, however, quite impressive. Dark Reapers firing in has reduced the Ghost Ark down to 2 wounds. That was combined firepower primarily from them, a little bit of support from the Wave Serpent. Apart from that, nothing else to sing home about. Wraith Knight did absolutely nothing. He took down nothing over here. Apart from the Bright Lance, shot straight between his legs and dropped an Immortal. And just through the shadows, the Scorpions right round here shot their pistols and dropped a warrior. So Graham, of course, will get his reanimation rolls for them as well. But apart from that, nothing really to sing home about. We are also, Graham has announced that this building, because we're within range, this building, we're in range, and of course over there with the infiltrators, the beacon is not in any of these, so it has got to be in the back line, which is quite heavily defended. But we'll come back after the Necrons' response to the Eldar attack, see what they've got to bring to bear against the might of the Eldar. We'll be back in a moment. Right, okay, so we're just back after the Necron movement phase. So the Ghost Ark has repaired one of its wounds back from the from its ability for living metal, and the warriors have gotten out. The spiders just come shuffling along this way. As you can see, the shard has just come swooping over there. Cryptek has retreated back into here. The death marks are still fine where they are. The wraiths have just come pouring through here with their wraith form. They ignore an all terrain. Warlord is just in centre stage here, and the warriors and the immortals just looking as though they're going to get some shots against the Scorpions. As for reanimation, as you can see, back up to full strength, still down at this point over here. Just moving across the board, the Doom Scythe has come flying over here, and more than likely looking to take some shots at the Guardians there. And the Monolith has Deep Struck just at the backfield, just with a range on pretty much everything over here, so we'll have to take care of that somehow. But we're moving on to shooting phase for the Necrons, and let's see what damage they can reap against their Eldar attackers. Back after the shooting. Right, so we are just back after the shooting phase for the Necrons. So over here, the Ghost Ark and the Warriors shot into this bike squad, reduced one of its number down to 1 wound. Over here, however, the Monolith dished out quite a bit of damage, firing into the Wave Serpent, reducing it down to 10. There's a couple of weapons that were in certain ranges of characters, and a couple of weapons that had to shoot at the Wave Serpent purely because of its hull. So by that being there, it's just saved the Particle Whip being in range of a character. So it is shot into this, did no damage with the Flux Arcs. Particle Whip in this Flux Arc has dropped this down to 10 wounds, as was said. And firepower combined from the Doom Scythe as well as the Monolith have reduced the Guardian squad down to 5. A couple of shots coming over here, coming from the Warriors into the Scorpions, has reduced just through the window the Exarch on 1 wound. So apart from that, nothing else really to cover. Graham does have a charge to set off. So if Graham's going to roll 2 dice, I reckon from the distance needs about 5 to 6 inch charge. Yeah, that'll definitely get him in. So we'll resolve Overwatch, and we'll come back after the end of Necrons, and we'll also have to see whether morale is passed over there. So we'll come back at the beginning of Eldar turn 2 after the results of combat. Right, so just at the end of Necron's turn, combat over there, as predicted, the Scorpion Exarch just couldn't hold up against the attack. So first blood given to the Necrons, and they've just advanced 3 inches around there. Just on a note for morale, we did fail morale over here and lost 4 Guardians, so that lone Guardian manning the battlement on his own there. But we are just going to go into Eldar turn 2. We need to respond to this. We can't let this monolith stay where it is, but we have a nice tasty payload in here which might just sort that out. So we'll have to come back after movement and we'll reposition, see what we can do, hopefully get some nice psychics off this turn round. So we'll come back after Eldar turn 2 movement. Right, so we're just back after Eldar movement. So we've disembarked the fire dragons and they've moved close as possible to, not an inch in, but as close as possible to the monolith to dish as much damage out as possible. The wave serpents just surged forward, just to see if we can lend some fire support, maybe to take this Ghost Ark out. As long as these guys are going to also fire, and potentially the warriors as well. We've kept the Dark Reapers back, maybe get some shots up at the flyer, or potentially maybe it'll lend some support into the monolith as well. The Lonely Guardian, he's very annoyed that his fellow comrades have died, so he's going to make one last ditch attempt, fire the Bright Lance into the monolith as well. Just moving across here, advanced with this squad as well, and Graham has also advised us that the beacon is not in this building either. So it's narrowed it down to this, or to this for the Eldar. Just coming around the corridor, just round this way, we have the Wraith Knight has just jumped over the barricade and he's looking to do some damage this way as well. He's not happy about the Scorpions being killed, so he will be looking to get some shots off and potentially charges as well. So we'll see what damage we can do after Psychic and Shooting phase for the Eldar. Okay, so we're just back after the Shooting phase and Psychic. So Psychic phase, we cast a Guide on these from this Farseer over here. He did Peril again, but he did manage to ignore it using his Ghost Helm. And Eldrad cast Guide on the Wraith Knight just round here as well. We did also cast Smite from Eldrad and took down one warrior, but there's a lot more gone from there, which we'll cover in a second. And Smite, we took a wound off the monolith. Shooting wise, these guys did brilliantly. Combined firepower from that and them, the Dark Reapers and the Fire Dragons, we reduced it down to 4 wounds. So it is limping along. We just couldn't take it out, but it has significantly reduced its ability to fire at this stage. Because even with Living Metal, when it gets its whole point back, it'll still be hitting on 6s. So got to try and do something about that. Firepower coming in from the Wave Serpent and these guys here. Reduced these down to 2. So there is still a possibility that they could potentially flee, however, or tactfully withdraw, as I like to say, because we will have morale to do. These guys, obviously, they zipped along here, and as I stated, the beacon's not there. And just coming across here, firepower down from the Wraith Knight, firing everything into the Wraiths, took one of them straight out, and one's down on 1 wound. So not too bad considering how resilient the Wraiths can be. So we do have 2 charges to set off as well. So we're going to attempt to charge the Wraith Knight into the Immortals. I reckon he only needs about a 3-inch charge for him. So we'll just roll that on camera. Okay, so that is a 7-inch charge he'll be in. And we're going to charge these guys into the monolith. Yes, the monolith has the Portal of Exile, but we're going to have to try and see if we can take it out. So we reckon we need a 2-inch charge for these. Okay, on a 4, that'll be in. So we'll get combat resolves and we will see what damage has been done, but we'll be back after the assaults are resolved as well as the morale. We'll be back in a moment. Right, so we are just back after the assault phase and the monolith still stands. Had my 7th edition head on here. So obviously melter bombs are now a range weapon. But we did get we got 1 wound, but Graham passed it. Over here, the monolith, the Wraith Knight killed 3 of them down, but they did pass morale as well, and these guys have passed morale. So with 1 standing, there is potential that these could come back up on Graham's next turn. So we will go back into the turn 2 for Necrons, and as it slowly starts, it's kind of falling apart from the Eldar at the moment. They're still in the game. They need to get in one of these buildings. I'm thinking it's going to be this, but we'll see what the Necrons do, see what they react against this. Are we going to see the Catan against the Wraith Knight? Not too sure, but we'll have to wait and see. So we'll be back after Necrons turn 2. Right, so just after Necron's movement, and obviously Living Metal and Fabricated Claw Ray, so this is back on 5 wounds, and it's just pulled around here. more than likely to get some shots at the bikes across here. The spider just hugging the back of the Ghost Ark. On reanimation, Graham got 6 of his number back, so they're quite back up and strong. The other 2 is still down. Over here, the Immortals, they got 1 of their number back up. Sorry, they failed, but they are still fine over there. Moving up, more than likely to get some shots off against these. And the Monolith has fell back, and the Flyer has just come screeching along just to get some shots off down at the Fire Dragons. Just over in the distance over here, the Star God as well as the Wraiths are looking as though they're probably going to try and get a charge off against the Wraith Knight. There's a lot of firepower going to come in because just through the old ruined chapel is a lot of warriors more than likely going to be wanting to rapid fire. And the Cryptek just shifting slightly around here as well. So we'll come back after Necron's shooting phase, and hopefully the Eldar will be still standing, because we need to search these 2 buildings to get that beacon. We need to try and go towards as fast as possible. So we'll be back after shooting phase for Necrons on turn 2. Right, okay, so just after shooting phase for the Necrons, so just starting over here. Obviously the Monolith falling back, couldn't do anything, but we have 1 Fire Dragon left, the Exarch on 1 wound. That came from firepower from the Doom Scythe here. We haven't done morale, that's all done at the end now. Just over this way, the Warriors rapid firing in, reduced this guy down to 1, so we'll have to do morale for him. The Ghost Ark rapid firing into these, with him being wounded, did no damage, passed all the saves. Firepower coming down from the Death Marks, and also under there with the rapid firing Mortals has reduced altogether. Took quite a lot of wounds down off the Wraith Knight, and that's reduced him down to 17 wounds. Gaze of Death as well. He's chipping in a little bit from the Nightbringer, but we do have some assaults to set off as well, so that's all the shooting that was done. So assaults wise, I believe it's these 2 units into the Wraith Knight.
Yep, the Nightbringer.
Okay, so the Nightbringer, who's probably needs a 3. Yep. Yeah, he's definitely going to be in, and looks as though it'll be a 4 from the Wraiths. Yeah, they're definitely in. So we'll come back after combat. We'll probably film this one actually, but we're going to resolve Overwatch first. We'll come back and we'll film the assaults from the Catan against the Wraith Knight. So we'll be back at that combat. Right, okay, so we do have this matchup here between the Catan Starguard. He's attacking against the Wraith Knight. So the Catan will go first. And I believe he's hitting on 2s, I believe.
Yep, 2s to hit.
Yep. Okay, so
I'll hit exit 1.
3 hits. And what does he need to wound?
2s to wound.
2s to wound with his scythe. Very nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. And what is AP?
AP -4.
AP -4. So that'll force us to take our in runs for our better save. Okay, so we fail every single one of them.
D6 damage on
D6
each
damage on each one as well.
So we have.
So for the first, that is 2, 4.
Some low rolls, come on.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wounds off the Wraith Knight. That is bad news for the Wraith Knight. Of course, we do have the Wraiths to go as well. So we'll do the Wraiths first, with it being Graham's assault phase.
3 attacks.
So there's 3 attacks each. So that's 6 attacks for them guys. I believe they'll be hitting on 3s.
Yep, they're hitting on 3s.
Okay, so see if these can get some hits on as well.
All hits.
1 miss.
Not 1.
Okay, and they have their whip coils. So it'll be their normal strength, I believe.
I'm actually using the Vicious Claws.
The Vicious Claws.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Strength 6.
Strength 6 against Toughness 8. You'll need 6s for wounds. Okay, there's just 1 gone under the book, so that is 2 wounds. Damage on them?
Damage on the Vicious Claws, which is just 1 damage.
Any minus AP?
-1 AP.
-1 AP, so that is 4 up saves, guys. And we pass them, no problem at all. So, Big Daddy Wraith Knight. I think we're going to probably go for the Catan here. I think we can survive against the Wraiths longer than we can the Catan. So we will be using our fists. So that'll be us. We are currently down. No, we're still fine for our hits. So hitting on 3s. Nice. And it is our Wraithbone fists. So that is our normal strength, which is strength 8. And your toughness 6, I believe, or is he toughness 8 now?
Toughness 7.
Toughness 7. Nice. So 3s to wound. Okay, so that is 3 wounds. And that is at for -3. You'll have an invuln, no doubt.
4 plus invuln, which I'm going to be using.
4 plus invuln, yeah.
Just failed one.
Oh, just failed the 1. Right, okay, so that'll be D6 damage. A 1. Right, so we do 1 wound back to the Catan. So not too bad. We can obviously still leave the combat should we wish to, but if this was back in 7th, yep, I'd be running away. But not too bad. Well, I'd be fearless anyway, so ignore that. But dished a fair few wounds onto the Wraith Knight here. But it has locked him up, but he can still fall back and still shoot with him being an unstoppable Revenant. So that is the end of Necron's turn 2. And at the moment, still haven't found this beacon. But as it stands, the game will end if, of course, we don't find it. So we'll go back into the movement phase of Eldar on their turn 3. Right, okay, so we are at the end of movement phase for Eldar on their turn 3. So just to cover morale as well, very luckily we passed morale here and here. So they're absolutely fine, and just scooted around just to see if we can put as many shots into this as possible. We've positioned him there on purpose. Hopefully we'll be able to whittle a few of them down. And hopefully, if he's still alive, it means they've got to target him rather than the Farseer over here. The Dark Reapers, they're just hopefully they won't need to put some shots into the Monolith, or potentially the Flyer. The lone guy over there, he's seeking revenge. He wants this Monolith. The Wave Serpents just come around here to lend some fire support into the Ghost Ark. Just over here, Eldrad has just come around here. But hidden in the shadows is the enemy Warlord. So are we going to see 2 Warlords clash? We'll just have to wait and see what happens. So just moving around here, what's this? We have found the beacon, finally. So these guys have came 16. I wanted 16 inches rather than advancing, just in case it was there, and the Gambit paid off. So we'll be trying to put some shots into the Cryptek, or potentially up at the Death Marks. And just over there, as you can appreciate, the Wraith Knight falling back, wanting to put as many shots into these as possible. So we will come back after a quick psychic and shooting phase, and hopefully there'll not be very many machines left. But we can only hope. Back in a moment. Right, so we are just back after Psychic and the shooting phase. So just in Psychic, this dude tried to cast Guide and Smite and failed. Eldrad cast Guide on the Wraith Knight. He also tried to smite the Warlord and perilled. He did ignore one of the wounds from the D3 with his Ghost Helm, but he has taken 1 wound from that. In shooting, not a great deal to sing home about. There's firing in all over the place, trying to take this Monolith out. We had to use... I really, really wanted it to be this guy, but he just failed. But in the end, it took firepower from the Exarch. That guy over there who failed, but it was the Exarch down here who shot in. So the remaining guys targeted up there and stripped that down to 9 wounds. Not a great deal to sing home about. But we had to deal with that Monolith. We just couldn't let it just roam around. Constantly regaining its wounds back, so we had to deal with it. This guy did no damage here. The Wave Serpent took 1 hull point off here, Over here, these guys fired, reduced the Cryptek down to 2 wounds. And absolutely no damage coming in from the Wraith Knight shooting. Not very good. Starting to think, obviously, the days of Eldar being the super-powered force that they were in 7th, obviously it is better that they're not overpowered. I have had a lot of bad rolls in that role as well, but I am feeling a bit of the points difference as well. We are doing 1850 points as well. You can't squeeze as much in. So, still enjoying using Eldar. It's just very tricky against these resilient robots. But we do have a couple of charges to set off. So, we've got a big one, 2 big ones actually. So, we're going to try and get Eldrad into combat with the Overlord. We're going to assault the Catan with the Wraith Knight. And we're also going to try, it's a bit of a stretch, but we only need to be within an inch now. We're going to try and get these into combat with the Cryptek over here as well. So we'll actually start here. So we reckon we need about an 8-inch charge, 7 or 8. So we're looking for high numbers here. Okay, so on a 4, that'll not get them in there. We'll do the Wraith Knight into the Catan. I reckon he needs... So we've got 5. I only moved him back 4, so he should be absolutely fine. Yep. And of course the big one, Eldrad. Reckon we need a 4-inch for him to get him within an inch.
Yeah.
So let's see what we can do. Okay, on a 6, that'll be him in. So we will come back after Overwatch has been resolved. Right, okay, so we just back after the assaults. Not a great deal to sing home about. No damage against the Warlords here. They are just batting off each other. Over here, we reduced the Catan down to 4 wounds. Not great, but could have been better. And of course, we had the failed charge over here. So more than likely, these are going to turn around and shoot and probably rip them to pieces. But at least we now know where that is. So we need to make a bayline for it. So we are going into the Necrons turn 3. It is starting to get thin on the ground. I am feeling this using Eldar. Still got units on the board, but I am feeling it. The resilience of these things. A lot of people saying that Necrons suck. No, I don't really think so. Not in this edition. Fair enough, they were good in 7th with the Decurions and things like that, but they are doing quite well. But we will have to wait and see what they can do on their next turn. So we'll be back after Necrons on their turn movement, turn 3. Right, okay, so just going in after movement phase for the Necrons. So the Doom Scythe has just come up here. Living Metal, regained a wound back. These warriors have gotten 1 back to the number and they've come through the doors that way. These have also gotten 1 back to the number. They're just staying where they are. The Ghost Ark has just pivoted round. The Spider's just staying where it is. Obviously, you can't repair the same model more than once. Just to get some shots off as well against that. That's why it's pivoted. As expected, Death Marks with a perfect sniping position, probably not going to be there any much longer. The Immortals got 1 back to their number, and they're just round here. And these guys are just staying exactly where they are, just looking to get some shots more than likely into the Wraith Knight. So we'll come back after shooting phase. Both armies looking very thin on the ground here. So don't really know what's going to happen, so we'll see how things pan out. Eldar, we need to take this. That's pretty much everything. So we need to kind of push forward now. Probably should have gone forward a lot more than this, but we'll have to see what's what. I have moved the dice from this by accident, but it is still on 10 wounds. So we will be back after Necrons on their shooting for turn 3. Right, so we are just back after the Necrons shooting phase, and the last Guardian has fell. That came to firepower from this guy. So he has gone, held on as long as he could, but he's gone. Over this way, the last jet bike's gone as well. That was rapid fire by these. I knew he'd go. That's exactly why I put him there, just in case. Otherwise, they potentially could have shot at the Farseer. A couple of shots coming in, actually, to the Farseer. Rapid fire from these. Single shots from these. Past all 4 of his saves as well, which is brilliant. Firepower coming in from the Ghost Ark down here, as well as firepower from the Death Marks. Reduced this squad down to 2. And just over this way, just through these doors as well, the Immortals fired into them and did no further damage. So apart from that, nothing great this shooting phase. Probably a bit sad that he's gone, of course, but apart from that, we've just got a couple of assaults to... We've got the ongoing assault with the Warlords here, the ongoing assault between the Catan and the Wraith Knight, but Graham does have a charge to set off, and that is for the Cryptek, well, the standing Cryptek against these two. We've already pre-measured it, and it looks as though he would need a 7-inch charge. Oh, on a 6/6 he'll definitely be in, so we'll resolve Overwatch, and then we will find out what's going to happen after combat. So we'll be back in a moment. Alright guys, we are just back after combat for the Necrons. Over here, Eldrad's still kicking. No damage done there. It looks as though they're just going to be locked in combat for ages. I mean, we can fall back, but what's the point, to be honest? Over here, no damage done this way either. However, big blow dealt. Just coming round, as you can expect. Very unlucky, but very good player by Graham. Wraith Knight explodes. No damage done when he exploded, but he's a burning wreck. There will be cries at the craftworld today. They've lost a big Wraithbone construct from the Star God. Their ancient enemy is just, with a scythe, one fell swoop, took him straight down, and he's drifting off into the distance, going after to protect the beacon. So the Eldar are on the back foot. We have considered basically calling it. There's not a great deal we can do. We are just going to have one final push just to see what we can do. Hopefully something will smile down upon us, and I mean, what we really need to do is we need to take this out, put as many firepower into them as possible, and hopefully kill this Cryptek. If we kill this Cryptek, get within 3 inches of this, there's a potential that we can claim it. However, all depends on what could happen here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do my movements, psychic and shooting, potentially combat. Depending on what happens at that, the Eldar could be defeated here by the Necrons. Just 2 resilience. But we're going to have a quick bash just to see what happens. More than likely, I can see this being a dark day for Ulthwe. So we'll be back in a moment. Right guys, so we are just at the end of Eldar turn 4, and we have called it. So movement wise, moved this guy further up just to here, just to get a pot shot against that. He did hit and did no damage. Farseer just moved and cast Doom on the Ghost Ark, which is gone, so good there. This guy shot as much as he could into the death marks, reducing them down to 1. What it came down to, of course, was over here. We did the combat phase, no damage done. We needed to kill that Cryptek to be able to claim that. We could have gone into the next phases, but to be honest, even if we did kill him and got there, all that's going to happen is Graham's units, especially these guys, are just going to come tearing straight through, kill him, and it's going to take too long for this to get across. So admirably, we have called it. I don't usually like calling games. We do normally try. I do try to be as tricky as I can, but on this scenario, the Necrons are just dug in way too deep. So I hope you have enjoyed this battle report. Me and Graham have thoroughly enjoyed playing across our Imperial city here today. Thought it was a very, very interesting game that we played, especially with the beacon phased in and out. Very tricky for us to try and find that. May end up using something like this in the future for different games, but we will have to wait and see. So, any thoughts on Necrons, Graham, seeing as though they've been getting some slack off some other channels?
To be honest, I don't know where the slack's come from.
Yeah, I'm totally with...
Absolutely brilliant, I thought.
Yeah, really, really good. Eldar, a couple of things that I maybe could have brought differently in my mind. Just didn't push ahead as fast as what I should have. I think I was a little bit too scared of the Necrons. However, on this occasion, I think I should have brought maybe a few more faster vehicles to get in there. But apart from that, thanks very much for watching, guys. It is a Necron victory today. And that would be a 4-0. Because they got first blood. And obviously they control the beacon. So the Tomb World is taken over. The remnants of the Eldar Craftworld will have to retreat back through the webway and live to fight another day. Eldrad's still kicking around, and Talrian as well. But thanks very much for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the next reports. If you like what you see, please give us a like and also subscribe as well if you like the channel. Check out the other videos as well as norm. And thanks very much for watching, guys, and catch you later.